All right, here we go. This one's by Benny Johnson, and this was released yesterday. Again, nothing really new came up since then, so we'll just check this one out. I mean, this one is 24 minutes long. So apparently there was a new video that came out today, but it was really long. So I think just all the initial stuff is like really all that there is right now. So we'll just have to wait.
My fellow Americans, it is time to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the wind.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Just 7 years after JFK was shot and killed on camera in Dallas, President Richard Nixon hauled his CIA director into the White House and demanded to know who shot John, saying that he must know which American intelligence agencies were involved.
Who shot John?
Okay.
His eyes are blind.
His
John's
eyes.
the blind. Kennedy's the blind. Nixon's the blind, etc., etc., etc. May come, not by me, but may come a very, very vigorous issue.
He says that this is going to become a vigorous issue.
Uh-huh.
Because what the government had done up to that point made absolutely no sense. Their investigations were lies. Back then, the blood was still fresh. There were so many people still alive.
Is it Dark Brandon? No, I think that there was some stuff about Biden, but I don't think it had to do specifically. I don't think anything said specifically that like Biden was personally involved. It basically just said don't trust him.
Side of the communities that created this assassination environment, and Nixon knew exactly where to find them. He went directly to the sea.
Yo, Josh, thank you so much for the tip, man. Thank you. Wait, I thought the magical girl segment was part of the JFK files.
CIA and demanded to
It's
know.
not. Thank you. Thank you,
shot
Paladin
John.
Josh. Thank you.
Did
I really
Nixon
appreciate it. Thank you
know
for
about the
20.
documents that have now been released by the National Archives? Certainly he did and would have. And in the brand new release by the Trump administration of some 30,000 of promised 80,000 documents, or about halfway there, you're starting to see a constellation created, a mosaic, if you will, about
Look at all those
what
tabs.
actually happened with the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think only 1/3 of it has been released. So there's like another 2/3 that we're still waiting on.
Who's to blame, and some dirty tricks that will seem not too old, but very familiar. Let's begin with exactly what we know and what we don't know. What we know about this document drop is that there is no smoking gun.
Yes.
So there are haters on the internet saying, wow, there's not like a record that says agent number 3629, Agent John Smith, was the one that pulled the trigger on the grassy knoll. And here's where he lives. And here's a copy of his fingerprints and his DNA. No, that doesn't exist. And I'm going to get into exactly why that doesn't exist. This is what the records look like. There are hundreds of pages of records, and there are thousands of entries, and there are 30,000 records specifically released.
What I want to know is there's a clip somewhere of someone who's like friends with Trump. Allegedly, he told Trump to when are you going to release the JFK files, because you promised you'd do that. And this was like during Trump's first presidency, and allegedly Trump said, if you were in my like something along the line, like I'm paraphrasing, if you're along the line, if you were in my position, you wouldn't release it either, because it's really dark. And so is that guy lying, or is there actually something afoot, right?
Here we go. This is like an example of them. Speaking of fingerprints.
Because Trump would just say that he's lying if he's lying, right?
Ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
No, it's on video. It's an actual video interview where the guy says that this allegedly occurred.
This is what it looks like. And
no, but he's friends with Trump. He's friends with Trump. He's not like saying it in a negative way.
Have been gone over by some of the wisest and sharpest autists on the internet. So while it doesn't involve a smoking gun, it does involve an enormous amount of interesting information. And so those telling you that it is a disappointment are lying. And those telling you that it 100% points to one person at one agency, they're also lying.
Okay.
But what it does is it creates what will seem to you a very familiar constellation of government security failures with a intended result. Let me immediately dispatch somebody saying, there's nothing here. Oh, really? Here's Operation Mongoose files that we've never seen before. The CIA admitting that they have plans for agricultural sabotage and biological agents using bioweapons to control not only the weather, but also bring about regime change. They're willing to do this. What won't they do? Well, would you look at that? The introduction of biological agents, which would appear to be natural in origin. Where have I heard that before? Really makes you rethink COVID here. This would produce regime change in another country.
Dude, there's like elements of the government that seem totally fucking rogue. Like actual like deep state shit.
Or in this country. Is that what they did in 2020 with the release of COVID-19? Yes, exactly. That is what they did. It goes into great detail about the overthrow of other governments, using unions like the AFL-CIO, and also using biological warfare. Plans for inducing the failure of crops will be submitted by February 15th. This is Cuba in this instance, but there are other instances where you can see that the CIA is operationally...
How many countries have these people fucked around with? Like, dude.
Throwing governments and using specific tactics. You don't see everything because, well, we have documents that prove how they destroyed all of the evidence. Something that makes it very difficult when you're talking about the assassination of an American president, knowing that they had these protocols in place. JFK Files, CIA, and...
I mean, Crimbo, I just don't think there should be like a fucking secret arm of the government that's like working independently and outside of any sort of oversight of, like the unelected, basically. Like,
forced complete
this
document
is fucking
control,
crazy.
No paper trail left at all. Declassification routing slips from the CIA Western Hemisphere Cuba Operational Group shows orders that recipients to destroy cover sheets after review. Reports were classified.
Yeah, it shouldn't. And does it happen all the time? Probably.
Classified.
But I'm just saying that, like, I don't agree with it, obviously, right?
Reserved for the most sensitive covert actions. The documents then were effectively...
What I'm saying is we shouldn't be okay with this. Like, this is unacceptable. We shouldn't just be like, that's just what happens. No, we should do... This is not right.
Routed, hand-carried, destroyed. No mistakes, no loose ends. Recipients were warned improper filing or unauthorized retention was forbidden. They'd straight up kill you if they found that you were backstabbing them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, of course, what John F. Kennedy's investigator of the CIA found. Arthur Schlesinger, who's a historian and an intellectual, was tasked with JFK and investigating the CIA.
Yeah, people basically theorized that they assassinated him because he was onto them.
His warning was that the CIA has grown powerful and reckless, running its own government, a state within a state, he calls it.
Yep.
Saying that the CIA has its own military, its own air force.
And again, guys, this isn't partisan at all. I mean, Kennedy was a Democrat, right?
It outnumbers U.S. diplomats. Covert ops are shaping U.S. policy without presidential approval. Iran, Guatemala, Cuba.
Really makes you wonder who is protecting Trump. God? Like, how do you explain that, man? Like, I don't know how else you explain what happened other than that.
Failed secret wars that were intended to start World War III. The British intelligence...
Yeah, God and Shinzo Abe, true. True, Molotov.
Service operates under strict control that the CIA runs completely and totally unchecked. They can create a world...
Saint Shinzo.
Kennedy was warned about this in 1961. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. We've never seen these files before, but they're called the Schlesinger files, a 15-page memo calling for JFK to break up the CIA. And he was planning on doing that in his second term. He wouldn't see that second term, even though he was rocketing through to a guaranteed re-election in 1964. They found somebody to take care of that. They found a CIA agent named Lee Harvey Oswald. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
According to Lee Harvey Oswald's Marine commander in Japan, Harvey Oswald was in the Marines, he's stationed in Japan.
But the thing is we know a lot of this stuff is already true. Like things that were previously considered conspiracy theories, like MK Ultra, for instance. We have definite proof that it's real. It's kind of funny because it's like almost like if they call something, if the government calls something a conspiracy theory, it's probably just real at this point. Like,
The Marine commander said, no. Lee Harvey Oswald was a CIA agent. He was recruited by the CIA while he was working for me in the Marines. Whew, they got to this guy. Shut this down fast, but there's the document. Lee Harvey Oswald was a CIA asset, and that the CIA was warned, along with the State Department, time and time again.
I mean, like the crazy thing is, the government basically created the Unabomber. They MK Ultra his ass. That's why all that shit happened.
About what would happen. They were warned that Lee Harvey Oswald was going to assassinate JFK.
Yo, Moot, how's it going, man?
That Lee Harvey Oswald would himself get killed. 30 and 45 days from these events happening, there are documents here that say, yes, this is what happened. And they ignored it. Boy, it makes you wonder. Kind of like the FBI ignoring President Trump's would-be assassin, Ryan Ralph, when he had illegal firearms, when they were warned of him, when he was behaving like a complete criminal sociopath, doing all these very mysterious actions with foreign governments, just like Oswald. It's almost like they set up a system to fail. And that's really the point here. Check this out. The CIA was watching Lee Harvey Oswald. They have tapes of him. Where are those tapes exactly? Here are the tapes. They were spying on Lee Harvey Oswald, their former agent. This is how Lee Harvey Oswald got to Russia. How do you think Ryan Ralph got to Ukraine all those times? Remember, he kept going to Ukraine even though he's dead broke? Yeah. Lee Harvey Oswald is the same situation. He's a complete loner, a complete loser. But they were surveilling him and his entire family.
I just gotta say, by the way, a slight tangent. That banana coffee is so fucking ridiculously good. I'm drinking like leftovers right now, like iced, and it's so peak.
Photos of him in Red Square. How did he get to Russia exactly?
The one I taste tested yesterday.
Yeah, and Lee Harvey Oswald apparently met Jack Ruby just weeks before the assassination.
It's not. There's no sugar. There's no sugar in it at all.
What did they do?
I'm drinking it black.
Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald will be killed after he kills Kennedy.
What?
That.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
They knew each other. There was no connection.
Man.
Now there is a connection. That's really strange. Also, what's really strange is, of course, the reactions right after Lee Harvey Oswald was killed. Lee Harvey Oswald constantly told media when he was allowed to appear before cameras, which was just seconds.
Do you think do you think Benny, I mean, there's still 15 minutes left in the video. Do you think he's going to talk about the Israel connections that they found in there that they tried to redact?
At a time, that he's a patsy, that he didn't kill Kennedy, that he didn't shoot those shots, that he wasn't the one who was firing in the Texas School Book Depository or anywhere else. We never got to hear the full story. We never got to hear any interviews at all because he was killed.
Oh, you're right. It does. Okay.
Well, the FBI was really happy about that result. Strange for a law enforcement investigation. Just hours after Jack Ruby killed Lee Harvey Oswald, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover demanded a quick public report on conspiracy theories from spreading. Hoover wrote that there is nothing further in the Oswald case except that he is dead. Nothing to see here, right?
The second one.
He wanted to ensure the public believed that Oswald acted alone. The memo showed that the FBI was frustrated that Oswald's murder left them without a chance to get more answers. Oh, really? Well, sure doesn't seem that way. The CIA was very nervous about both Italian and Russian reports saying that they killed JFK. Doth protest too much, huh? A newly declassified memo reveals the CIA monitored an Italian communist publication that accused the U.S. intelligence agencies of orchestrating the JFK assassination. Russians, in fact, warned of heightened assassination attempts against JFK in the weeks leading up to it, and lo and behold. It's very strange, isn't it?
Wait, hold on, wait, what?
And this isn't a new document.
So wait, what Russian intelligence said, yo, they're going to try to assassinate this dude. Wait, what?
That is getting a lot of publication now.
They're I get we're spying on you, but they're going to assassinate him.
Secret report about
Holy
CIA
shit.
agent and World War II hero Garrett Underhill, who the day after the assassination of John F. Kennedy
Russia didn't want to get
fled
blamed for it.
Washington, D.C., saying that he'd uncovered that a CIA splinter group was responsible for the assassination. He did this quite accidentally.
This is too messed up even for us.
But now
Holy
he's
shit.
going to be killed by the CIA. And then less than 6 months later, he was found shot in his own apartment, 12 times in the back of the head, and the coroner ruled it a suicide, you see. That's just how these things work.
Oh,
J.
man.
Garrett Underhill had been an intelligence agent during World War II. He was a recognized authority on limited warfare and small arms. He's a researcher and a writer on military affairs. First-name basis with many top brass at the Pentagon. Deeply respected. He worked with CIA officials, one of the agency's unpeople, who performed special assignments. What I find particularly interesting about that, this is that he was also in league with an arms broker.
It's kind of crazy because you think about this kind of shit like happening in like a sort of Game of Thrones, like medieval scenario, like people backstabbing each other and like assassinating people. But it's still the same thing even today. It's just a little bit more high tech.
CIA guns, including the famous Carcano style weapon that was used to kill JFK.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know what you got to know, right? CIA's Clandestine Operation Manual revealed. Document outlines CIA's meticulous profiling systems to gather biographical data, investigative information, and creating detailed dossiers on surveillance targets. This is stuff that they don't want out. This is a good release. This is fascinating stuff. It's very interesting. Double agents. The operational decision authorizing double agents of a foreign power will be coordinated with the counterintelligence staff, though no operational approval or provisional approval is required to create a foreign agent from a foreign power. And let's talk about foreign powers, because Russia
isn't a double agent like a spy, like a double spy, basically, where a person is like say they're like from America, and then they're saying like, oh, I'm a Russian spy, but they're actually an American spy that's pretending to be a Russian spy. Yeah. Wasn't that what the 00 was in James Bond? That's what the 00 meant, right?
ties for Oswald to Russia and to Cuba. Was that because he was being stationed there?
Oh.
Is this because they were creating a patsy? That's what I assume. They were creating the perfect patsy. Oh, it was the Russians. Oh, it was the Cubans. Don't ask too many questions. Oh, he was radicalized Marxist. Don't ask too many questions. Shut up. He's dead, right? Shut up. Don't ask.
00 was his rank. I see. 00 license account.
How about Israel? CIA assisting Israel.
I'm not gonna lie. The only James Bond I know is GoldenEye, because I played that game a lot.
The development of nuclear weapons. Even prior to JFK's administration, JFK's attempts to stop Israel from developing the nuclear bomb was seen as an existential threat to Israel's existence. Yikes. Then when it came to what gets redacted in these documents, they state, CIA states, the only thing that we actually want redacted is the term Israel, Israeli, and Israeli intelligence. Yikes. CIA has no objections to the declassification or release of information of this document except these words, Israeli intelligence. CIA requested that any mention of Israel be redacted from the JFK files. Israel is literally the only thing that they're requesting be redacted.
But why?
Okay.
Kind of weird. It's a little weird.
So here's what we know. We know that CIA counterintelligence chief James Angleton marked the redaction of Israeli intelligence services in their cooperations with the CIA. Now, the reason for this may not be as nefarious as it seems, or maybe even more nefarious. Here's what we know. That the CIA...
I'm just saying, there's a lot of coincidences. It's interesting, you know? Huh.
CIA assisted in Israel getting a nuclear weapon. Now, Israel getting a nuclear weapon, especially just in the decade or two after the creation of the nuclear weapon, is a very scary prospect, because you don't want a bunch of nuclear bombs going around the world, and nuclear proliferation is a bad thing. But the CIA,
The thing that's like kind of like so annoying to me, by the way, like, man, do I even want to talk about this? Yeah, you know what? I will. Fuck it. I don't care. Whatever. One thing that I find really annoying about this entire thing is that because Israel is so tied to Judaism, it's like they have set it up in such a way that it's so hard to criticize like anything that Israel does. Because if you do, it's like, oh, well, you hate Jews. But it has nothing to do with that. Right? Because it's like, obviously they're a country, and could they possibly take action that like clandestine action? I mean, guys, let's be real. Allies, like let's be real. This is the state of the world. Allies spy on each other all the fucking time. They do. They like you'd be crazy to think that like France doesn't have spies on us. We don't have spies on France. UK doesn't have spies on us. We don't have spies on the UK. France is probably spying on the UK. Everybody's spying on each other, right? So the idea that like we can't, Israel is going to do things in their best interest. Obviously, I would expect them to. Like that's their country, right? But the idea that we can't even like look at this and be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is all kind of suspicious. The shit with Epstein was really suspicious too. And it's like the idea you can't even bring this. Oh, like what? You're gonna say that Epstein is like linked with Israel? Wow, that's it's anti-Semitic of you. And it's like, bro, I'm not even fucking talking about Jewish people. I'm talking about the country of Israel and the fact that there are links between their intelligence. There's really weird coincidences of, Epstein, Epstein's father, and there's a ton of like little tiny connections. Like, that's a little weird. Why is he with that person? Why is he in with that person? Oh, like, why is the dad being why is he involved in like in one of the top, like, why is he in like one of the top like Jewish cemeteries? Like, what's going on? Like, why is all of this happening? Right? And then if you even like look into it at all, it's like people say, oh, you're anti-Semitic, bro. Like, you're anti-Semitic and like, oh, you just hate Jews. It's like, what the fuck? I didn't even say anything about that. Right? It drives me fucking insane. Yeah, like the Liberty, for instance, right? Like that's like another case. Remember the USS Liberty? Yeah, it's another case of it where it's like you can't even question what happened there without people saying like, oh, it's just you're just a Jew hater, right? Like, yeah, why don't you just do the little salute and stuff and put your swastika, put up your swastika flag, you Nazi. And it's like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, it's like they literally cannot do it. They can do literally anything, and then like you can't even criticize it. It's freaking ridiculous.
They helped them smuggle the uranium out of America and into Israel. Process uranium. From
And then the other thing is like, if you say something like that, and this is another thing that happens. Oh, and you try to bring this up and like, okay, this is like some kind of weird shit going on, right? And then they'll throw something really ridiculous at you, like, oh, so you're okay with what happened in Israel then? You're okay with Palestine, like, paratrooping people in and killing civilians? It's like, what the fuck? When did I say that? Right? It's like everything's so conflated nowadays. It's like you can't have like a nuanced opinion about something. It's like, oh, okay, so you agree with like literally the most extreme thing that you possibly could agree with. Oh, I guess you agree with Hitler then. Like, bro, what the fuck? It's crazy.
Israel for the development of nuclear weapons starting in 1961, months before.
It's a fallacy, exactly. I hate it.
Letter to Israeli Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion demanding international
it's literally the pancake and waffle thing.
His nuclear reactors to make sure that they're not creating a nuclear bomb. This followed Kennedy's 1961 directive for American inspections to verify that Israel was not developing nuclear weapons. Israel staged a fake control room and dummy installations to conceal its efforts from American scrutiny. LBJ allowed the Israelis to continue building their nuclear weapon. Kennedy didn't want it for obvious reasons. This is the individual at the CIA.
Did you know what I'm gonna do, guys? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm literally gonna like really look into like what's going on in like I want to know more about the history of like Israel and the Middle East, like how Israel was formed, like the wars that happened around there. I want to learn more about it. I'm gonna spend some time to look into it, so I can actually like know. And I'm gonna look up multiple sources of it. Obviously, I'm not gonna just like watch like a channel that's like pro-Palestine. I'm not going to watch a channel that's just purely pro-Israel. I'm going to try to like look at like neutral stuff, look at it from both sides. I'm going to try to watch a bunch of different opinions on it. I just want to know more about it because it's so crazy right now. Yeah.
For the Kennedy assassination, I'm not sure.
Better to read books on it.
This clandestine.
And the problem is like, if I'm not like traveling, I fall asleep because like I typically read audiobooks while I'm in bed, and then I just fall asleep half the time now. It's usually when I'm on a plane or I'm driving that I read a book.
With the Israelis. It's just interesting.
Why not watch more historian videos instead of just talking heads? I mean, yeah, I was gonna watch documentaries. I wasn't gonna watch like a commentator. I was gonna watch like documentaries. But the thing is even documentaries can be biased, right? It's kind of hard. Anytime you're dealing with history, there's obviously going to be multiple sides of the story for things. It always is.
Depth, deeper level, right, of understanding here of what's going on. And so, would you kill in order to, because the American president can really make your life a living hell. If you're lying to him and if you're trying to create a nuclear weapon. Also, if the CIA, as has been established, is just going behind the back of the president and creating their own policy.
Yep.
Because the president doesn't want a nation to get a nuclear weapon. The CIA
that would be really
does
concerning, actually, if that was actually the case. I mean, let's just assume that the conspiracy is real and that, like, if it's the case that Israel actually has control, like some control, like even if it's not full control, if they have even some control over the CIA, that's terrible. Like, obviously, we should do something about that. I would say the same thing about any country, by the way. If France had, like, partial control of the CIA, obviously, I'd say that's terrible, too. UK, it doesn't matter who. I don't care. Japan, China, Korea, whatever. I don't care. Any country that has, like, some kind of influence, like, on the CIA is obviously terrible.
A nuclear weapon for whatever
Sounds
reason.
anti-Semitic.
And so then you're at odds, don't you?
That's what I mean. It's like, I'm saying, like, it doesn't matter what country. It can be any country, and I would still be concerned.
Immediately create, like, the biggest battle of the executive power?
I have friends that literally live in Israel. It's like, guys, I would say this to their face.
In our lifetimes? Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's amazing what else we've learned. The CIA procuring female companions for Saudi.
Facts only Americans should run America's agencies. Obviously, I mean, like, why would you let a foreign power like have influence of like an agency like the CIA?
Muslim
what the
kings
fuck?
When he was here for a state visit. CIA personnel helped King Hussein, who was especially who was desirous of female companions during his Los Angeles visit. Not just that, not just the Saudis, but also the King of Jordan. They set him up. Set him up with a Jewish starlet, is what he asked for. Okay. Then, some of these documents show that Hollywood magic is being used to blackmail various world leaders. Man, what does that sound familiar? Look at this. These are the receipts that show that the CIA created a set in order to match a photograph of a room in Moscow. And then they hired actors to look like world leaders performing sex acts with women. And they took photos of that. They made a short film.
Wait, this is the OG deepfake. They invented the deepfake.
That was delivered back to the CIA, and stills that were delivered to the CIA in order to be sent to the nations and the leaders in order to blackmail them.
It's the OG deepfake.
Boy,
oh my God, can you imagine what they're capable of now? What are they capable of now?
Does this sound like Epstein? It's the exact same op. Here it is in black and white.
It is, yeah, true.
You're so stupid if you don't just read the documents. So they made this very...
Yeah, where are the fucking Epstein files? What happened to that? I want to know what happened.
Film of like a sex scene that involved.
Yeah, who took the tapes? Because he has tapes. Where are they? They just fucking
a world
evaporated.
leader and a woman who he shouldn't be having sex with. And then they use that film, they distribute it in the country of the leader in an attempt to embarrass him and hopefully, as a result, remove what was considered to be a very serious threat to national security. Dirty, filthy, diabolical.
Trump isn't going to let you see him. He's all over them. Well, I mean, here's my question. Why didn't they just release it then? If Trump is like all over the tapes and Trump was like trying to get into power and they didn't want him to go into power, why wouldn't they just release the tapes? It'd be like an easy way to get rid of Trump. They wanted to get rid of him like really bad anyway. I mean, obviously they tried to kill him. Why didn't they just release it? If he's actually like on those tapes and it's actually like easy to tell that it's him and obvious and there's like no refuting it and it's going to actually stand up to scrutiny, then why not just release it?
But it's right there in black.
Who says the CIA is against Trump?
Black and white. We live in a fake world. And we continue to learn that as we see time after time after time in these document releases, fake media companies that are started by the CIA. They're not real media companies. They're fake media companies. They just straight up say it. Political and psychological warfare. Radio broadcasting by the CIA. CIA radio broadcasting. Techniques available to the CIA to control media. Covertly directed broadcasting. We're telling radio stations what to play. They're also reading, of course, the mail back before a digital era. CIA was opening U.S. Postal Service mail being sent to Russia. Had 300 CIA staff indexing 250,000 names.
Man.
A lot of crazy stuff. Oh yeah, let's just open every single letter that goes to Russia. Got it? Cool. I mean, what do you think they're doing to our text messages, right? How do you think they're using our cellular devices to spy? When you know, you know. And then they're using, of course, students as spies. The CIA was sending hundreds.
To be honest, though, Crimbo, is if Trump is actually on the Epstein files, then I would want it to be released. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not fucking crazy partisan on that. If Trump is actually on those files, I want to see it myself. And I think he should be prosecuted if he is. I don't have like some kind of crazy fucking thing where I only care about it when it's on my side or whatever. I want everyone involved in it to be caught.
Hundreds of agents into Cuba under the guise of being students.
Yeah, well, fuck them. Fuck all of them, honestly. Kruma says, I think a lot of people on every side is on them. Yeah, fuck them. Get all of them.
Visa. I wonder how much this is still happening in our country and to our country.
I don't see what's confusing or controversial about that. Get all of them.
And this brings me nicely along to this final little clip here that I think says perfectly what I'm trying to say here, and it does include Israeli intelligence, but it includes sort of tactics and braggarts about the tactics of what's going on.
Krimo says, remember when Trump said that he thinks Epstein's a great guy and he likes them young? Well, I mean, like, okay, let's say, I mean, how is that proof of anything? Like, if he knows of him tangibly, he knows he's an influential person. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Trump actually banned him from a lot of his places before all of this even came out. So if you're dealing like, you know, with upper levels of power, you know, obviously like you would say somebody's a great guy if you want to, you know, you don't want to create enemies, right? Obviously you'd say that. And if he does see him with a lot of young women, then yeah, you would say that, right? I don't know how that's like proof of anything.
On here. And this is it, ladies and gentlemen. The takeaway from these documents is that we live in a fake media-controlled world, and that the bad actors that we always suspected in the JFK...
The level of cope, most of these leaders are corrupt, and you can look the other way if he's your guy. Like, where are you getting that from? Didn't I literally just say that if he's on the... What? Didn't I literally just say that if he's on it, then yeah, fuck him. Like, catch him and catch everybody, even if they're on... I don't care whose side they are on.
Assassination are in fact the bad actors that the government knew about the threats to JFK's life. They put him in a position, because who controls the motorcade? Who controls the motorcade for JFK? Who says you're going to sit inside of a limousine that's open air, that doesn't have a bubble around it? You know, it's the 60s. Like, there have been assassinations for generations. Franz Ferdinand, I mean, multiple presidents assassinated. Of course you don't drive them through without a bubble around.
That is interesting. Was that like common back in the day? I don't know. Was it common back in the day for presidents to like go in an open air convertible?
Of protection? They forced JFK into a kill box, much like they've done with Trump. And that's the real crime here. That's how you keep your fingerprints off it, right? You create the conditions for the killing. And then you say you shrug your shoulders. That's what the documents really show.
Yep.
And they show that the world is very much a stage for these people, and they cast guys like Lee Harvey Oswald, right? They look for people, they cast them in these roles, and then they blame everything on them, and they say they knew nothing about it. But they did know about it. They were warned about the Kennedy assassinations. There was something very dark and nefarious going on with Jack Ruby. Somebody knew that Jack Ruby was going to go kill Oswald. They were all going to kill JFK. There are vested interests that are very heavy on the chessboard. Marxism, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Mob actions, definitely. Like nuclear proliferation, absolutely. And this Mossad agent right here kind of explains, like, puts a bow on all of this. Whether it's the fake hotel rooms and the Epstein stuff that they were creating with world leaders, right? You can see it all there in the documents. Or like the biological weapons and the weather control, which are there in the documents as well.
King Elysian says Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago after Epstein tried to get a 16-year-old girl who was working as a spa attendant. Her dad was a maintenance worker and got a job there to keep her safe and get her something for income. I see.
The death of the world leaders or the overthrow of these regimes, it all goes back to the same basic point, which is that they believe.
Let me finish this and then I'll do that.
And that all the rest of us are just living inside of a fantasy, and they're actually the ones in charge.
Convince Hezbollah to buy this.
Well, obviously, they didn't know that they were buying it from Israel.
Who did they buy it from, or think they were buying it from?
We have an incredible array
This guy's like the fucking Zodiac or something.
of possibilities of creating foreign companies that have no way being traced back to Israel. Shell companies over shell companies who affect the supply chain to our favor. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Man.
Can't sum it up better than that. They created a fake world, and they let what happened to JFK happen. The CIA clearly knew, the FBI clearly covered up, and they got their result. Who's the they? We're still searching. But the picture has become more into focus. For that, we're thankful.
I hope we get more out of it, honestly.
More truth. Truth without it.
So nothing really definitive, just like, oh my god. Cat says nuclear after Daily Wire. Oh man. Wait, what? Daily Wire after CO forced what? Oh, I just want to click this. I just want to look at it. Oof. CO forced out selling company. Yeah, there's like big drama coming out of the Daily Wire right now. But anyway, yeah, nothing really like conclusive, just stuff about just general corruption. So it'll be interesting to see like if we actually get more info, because if that's the first one, the other ones better be like way more spicy, right?